Welcome to Between the Lines. We had a great July 4th on Monday, super fireworks, and here we are Thursday night with Between the Lines, and we've got a great show for you. We're going to talk to Kent Leach about the Daugherty building. And in Clinton, that's whatever you want to call it, that's the subject of the year. So what we're going to do to get the Daugherty building, I'm not taking sides. It seems like a legitimate project, and we're going to talk about it, and Kent's going to explain it so people in Clinton will understand what's going on, because there's a lot of rumors, whatever you want to call them. But happy Independence Day. We're glad you're with us. Kent, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Alan, thanks for having me on the show.
Glad to have you.
First of all, I want to say something. I was out at Lewiston Point last week with the family on the lake.
Okay.
Anderson County is blessed.
Oh.
Unbelievably blessed. You guys
Beautiful,
have all these resources. We enjoyed the lake. We got a.
Where do you live?
Well, right now I live in Lenore City. I've lived there for the
That's
past,
pretty nice too.
Yeah. But I grew up in Campbell and Claiborne County. I was actually, this is kind of funny, I've told people this, I was born up in Lake City, if you've heard of that place, in Dr. Burrell's hospital. Him and Sexton had a hospital up there.
I remember
mom
Curtis and Dr.
worked
Burrell.
for them early on, and he was her doctor till the day she died. So
wow.
I was born in Lake City.
Very popular man.
He was. He's a good guy. And so I grew up in Speedwell, but Mom taught school down in La Follette. So I did all my schooling in Campbell County and graduated from there. Went to UT Knoxville.
We're on the air in Campbell County.
Yeah, well, great. I played basketball up there. Played a lot of games against Oak Ridge and Clinton.
Did you
so
really?
Sure did. Hey,
What year did you graduate?
93. Let me tell you, if you can hit a foul shot with in Clinton's gym with Freddie Fagan yelling at you, you a pretty good player. So.
Played a lot of games for Oak Ridge and Clinton's gym, maybe 6, 8. I'm trying to think. Yeah, we lost once. But those were great teams in those years. That was in the mid-73, and we had
some good ones.
Clinton had the best team they've ever had, probably, except maybe the team they had about 10 or 15 years ago with Jermaine and them. But they had Russell Fritz, Tyrone Fritz, Jerry Rick, Jimmy Hodge. It was loaded. They were like 29-4. We were top. We were top 10 teams. And
great memories. We beat Oak Ridge every so often.
Every so often?
Yeah, we would.
Campbell County?
Campbell County. So, so I'm a physical therapist. I went to school. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with athletes, right? And I went to UT and ended up at UT Memphis and physical therapy school and got out of school and started working.
How long is physical therapy school?
Well, back then, it was all you could do was get a Bachelor of Science. So I did it in 4.5 years. Now
you went to Knoxville for.
I had to go to Knoxville for about 2.5 years, and then you finished your bachelor's in Memphis at the Health Sciences. So the nurses, doctors, dentists, pharmacists were in Memphis at that time. So and I thought, that's what I want to do.
So now it's 97, 98.
Exactly. Yeah, Tennessee won the national championship the first year. I had a job. I bought season tickets and watched them every game.
Good for you.
So, but then I realized, gosh, I caught this real estate bug and started learning more about real estate, buying
rentals. That's a lot
rentals.
of money and a lot of investment in physical therapy to get a real estate bug.
Well, I kept doing it. I didn't quit. Right? That was my side.
I understand how that works. I got one of those.
Side hustle, and kept doing that, and ended up in a home health position probably about 10 years ago in Anderson County. So. Clinton, Norris, Lake City, Rocky Top, whatever you want to call it, Andersonville became my read. That's my area. I was in that area every day. So I drove past the Daugherty building, drove through Clinton every day. Get and go. Hot dogs were on the lunch menu. So I just, I became, I was just part of Anderson County, serving the people. I've been in hundreds of homes of elderly in Clinton area and even Oak Ridge. So.
It's interesting. I graduated from Oak Ridge High School, and when I graduated, not counting sporting events, I had been to Clinton twice my entire high school. Went to Hammers twice on Saturday morning with my mother, and that's the only time I ever came to Clinton. My parents never came this direction. Interesting. Wow. But when you're on the other side, you're coming in, I guess. Yeah. Where are you going to go the other way?
Exactly.
Jellicoe. I got a lot to. Okay, so you're in this. You're a therapist, and you came out of school. Where'd you go to work first?
I worked in an internal medicine doctor's office.
That makes sense.
Well, the great thing is some of those relationships are some of my best investors and best friends that I made there.
Sure.
So, worked in a doctor's office for 10 years and saw that side of it, and really just wanted to get out. And when you're cooped up in an office, on a schedule. Home health is unbelievable. And to this day, we run a home health agency that takes care of former energy workers. We take care of those guys and gals.
You know, it's become more of we have an aging country, and it's
absolutely.
You know, the elderly have become more. And I think COVID too. I think we got more mobile. You know, I think we've done a lot of things those 3 years.
I told you I went into school to treat athletes. I wanted to do athletics. Well, they don't tell you that 90% of the therapy jobs are working in geriatrics.
Sure.
And that's what I did.
Sure, that makes sense. So you start out in 97, 98, and we get started. Well, okay. So you're out, you're working, you're doing this, you're getting all this done. Then you get the real estate bug.
Yeah, so I flipped a lot of houses through after the downturn.
Did you get a license?
No, you don't have to have a license.
Not to buy and
invest.
refix. Right.
Let's call it I'm an investor, and a lot of people have that. You know, I'm an investor, and now I'm
talking about back in 90.
Yeah, and I was always an investor. I worked with a lot of realtors, a lot of good realtors, and figured out how to get good deals and held some rentals for that time. And now I've just transitioned into this looking at multifamily and sitting and studying with other people, and got into looking at multifamily deals, but honestly, they were just exploding at the time. 4 years ago when I just started looking at that, and I sat down and talked to a buddy. He was looking at affordable deals. He's a genius when it comes to analyzing affordable housing deals. Yeah, and so we knew we'll talk more about the program, but he had an angle that a historic building would in Anderson or Loudoun County would be a great investment. It was. The waves, the push was going that way. So the state directs that investment dollar, those tax credits, and they were directing them this direction. And if you combine that with a historic building, we had a good deal. And so he said, there's this building. I said, I know the Daugherty building. I've driven past it every day for, I
only came twice a year, and I knew where that was.
And so we go in there and set that up. We sit down with the owner, tell him what we want to do. Honestly, he was getting the building ready to rent. So he was already going that direction. He was not going to be able to put the type of money we're going to put in the building, but Craig's a great guy, and we've enjoyed working with him. But that was January of 2020.
Okay.
You know what was coming down the pike, right?
Yeah.
So we put that building under contract January 2020. We apply for the credits, which are very competitive, very, very competitive 9% tax credits, and we won them. We won them in April, right as it was all going down.
Sure.
And so a lot of things have happened. The deal kind of stalled because of the construction prices,
I got you.
things like that. We've had some opposition. We've dealt with some of that, but we continued to work and take small steps forward, and now we see the finish line pretty close down the stretch.
Well, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Tell me about your family growing up.
Yeah, tell me about my family.
Yeah.
Well,
only child, 10 brothers.
No, I've got two sisters. Mm-hmm. Every male in my dad's family worked out at the plants.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, every one of them worked out at the plants, and a lot of them have passed away with different illnesses and ailments, but all those guys worked out there. So I've always had knowing that provided most of my family's income.
Sure.
Working out at Y12 and some of them at X10.
Did your dad grow up around here?
He grew up, up in Flat Hollow, Speedwell, up in Claiborne County, Campbell County.
Well, I was thinking Tennessee.
I haven't ventured far from the nest.
No, it's good.
But I don't get up that way much more. Mom and Dad both gone, so.
Mine too.
I'm stationed in Lenore City. I like it out there. It's close enough to get to some.
A lot of my friends are out there, and there's some really. You're talking about housing. There's some really nice houses out there.
Too.
Yeah, you get down towards Philadelphia and some of those other places. There's some.
A lot of people
really
moving in, Alan. I would say there's 1,000 people a day moving into Tennessee. Wouldn't you?
Well, let me tell you a quick story. I was going to tell my viewers. I went to, and I may have said it last week. I went to Overton County with a client, because as most people on the show know, I run campaigns around East Tennessee and around the country really, and I went down there to check on some facts and interest and over. Both of them told me they've 1,800 new families in Overton, 1,600 in Fentress in 2 years.
Overton County.
Yeah.
That's
and then
Livingston.
That's right. And Congressman Fleischman tells me every day he goes to Starbucks, has a cup of coffee. Every day there's somebody new that just moved in there.
Isn't that crazy?
2 people. And it's funny because the people that are moving into the big city areas tend to be more moderate and wanted to get away from the, not so much the culture, but the overcrowdedness expense. Whereas people moving into the rural areas tend to be very reflective of those conservative values that we're trying to get away from more liberal government. So you're right, it's growing fast, which creates a need for housing.
Exactly. Affordable housing is a huge national problem.
Define affordable for me.
Affordable just, it means that...
Is there a ratio?
No, yeah, but actually there is. HUD says that affordable housing means that you're spending no more than 30% of your income on housing, and that includes your utilities.
So we go to the mean. Oh, there you're out in Oak Ridge.
Yeah.
I mean, my electric bill this month was $682.
Yeah,
I mean, I got a 2,500 square foot house.
Yeah.
My wife likes it at 48. I mean, the air conditioners are blowing. It's unbelievable. Now, if it's the winter time, it can't get hot enough,
I know.
But we laugh about that. But it's expensive. And TVA, and people don't. I've lived in a lot of states over the years. I spent 12 years in Pittsburgh, a couple in Cleveland, Denver, New York City for graduate school, and we got the cheapest electricity in the country.
We do.
And because of TVA and other things.
Yeah, we do.
And they do a great job.
Tell you what, have you been in that Clinton Utility Board control room? You been in there yet? Ooh, man, that thing's like NASA.
Is it really?
It's amazing. Those guys have it.
My friend Dave Bowling works for TVA. He's taught me a lot in the last 6 months about different things, and he does all the water and gas. I think it's gas for him, and he does a lot of stuff. All right, so you get all this done. Just kind of get a picture of you. So you decide at what point to start investing in multifamily units.
Well, when you've got rentals all over the place.
Single rentals, okay.
Yeah, and I did things to manage that. I sold a lot of my properties on rent-to-own contracts because I got tired of working on them. So I let them take care of you do rent to own, you take care of your own.
Is this like a subsidiary or a DBAU? This was just you?
I did this under an LLC I created in 2003, I think.
Just you?
No, me and my wife, yeah.
Okay, you of course.
Yeah, and she's the best painter you'll find. She can cut.
So you all were just fixing stuff up?
Absolutely. Well, we had 3 kids, and we had.
You still have rental houses now?
I got a few, but I've
gotten rid of them right now while you get the money?
I've gotten rid of quite a few of them, and those properties put our kids through school.
Oh, sure.
So
my house was $195 in 2018, and it was $320 something.
Isn't that crazy?
And there's been about 30,000 improvements, but not 130.
I wish I had every one of those houses that I sold.
Yeah, I bet you do. You know, one thing else before we go to break and come back and talk a little bit about the Daugherty building, but one thing that's interesting is that people got to understand, they're not going to raise your tax rate, but your taxes are going to go soaring after the appraisals, because that house that I owned that was $180 and I'm paying a certain tax rate, and it was whatever it was, $1,000 a year. Now I got to pay $1,600 a year on that. So get ready. It's not your local officials, but the value of your home is now appraised at the current rate will be 50% higher on your taxes. There'll be a dang revolution. I mean, nobody will understand it. That's where it's going. Brad, let's take one break and come back, and we're going to talk about the Daugherty building.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see.
D-E-P-R.
Mental illness doesn't show up on a scale.
Bipolar?
Sorting out a mental health concern takes professional diagnosis and treatment.
Anxiety. I thought so.
If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, don't go it alone. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, call 1-800-662-HELP. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
What if one day you went to your secret hiding place, and instead of what you came for, you found this? What would you do? The truth is, all drug use comes with risk. Before drugs take their toll on you and your family, know that there is help. You can quit. If you or someone you love is struggling with drug use, call 1-800-662-HELP for 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/knowtherisks.
Hello, I'm District Attorney General Dave Clark. My fellow DAs and I successfully fought for new elder abuse laws and procedures that have police departments and agencies using improved tools to protect our seniors. Victims of elder abuse are often unable to recognize or report abuse themselves. They need your voice. If you suspect abuse, contact local law enforcement or adult protective services. Let's work together to protect our seniors.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
It's getting interesting. We're talking about, now we're going to move right to the Daugherty building, which we all know on the corner of Main and Merchants. Is that right? Merchants?
Church, Main.
Where are you at,
307 North Main. Church is right there between Regions and the.
I'm going on down the block
Yeah,
to the other side of it.
Main is where all the antique. You're thinking about
Merchants down here. Market down here.
Yeah.
I'm doing, guys. Merchants in Knoxville. So Market here. Go in here. There's actually a store between you. You're right. You don't actually border. You're about 20 feet short of whatever. Okay, so I drove by there for years in college. And in the 90s, I drove by. And I can never remember that store being open. I mean, to be fair to your side and to the people in Clinton that want to see something happen, we have waited a long time for somebody to do something with that Daugherty building. Now, I'm not in Clinton. They got more of a vested right to argue the point. But all I remember is that beautiful brick on the corner, and they did sell some furniture on the first floor like 20 years ago.
Well, Craig,
but it's been wasted. I mean, it's just nothing. Yeah.
Well, Craig, in fairness to Craig, he's ran a nice antique store out of the building for a while, and I talked to people all over the area that have been in the building. They know the building because Craig's ran antiques out of there. Okay. So, yeah, it's functioned as that.
They built it in the 40s.
It built in the 40s. Daugherty.
I would have guessed older than that.
Wouldn't you like to go back? Can you see? So you see all these trains coming into town.
Yeah.
They're taking people into Oak Ridge. Something's going on over there. Thousands of people a week coming in, and they need furniture. And this man came in and built this building and capitalized on it. So the Daugherty building is 5 stories. It has a basement. The bottom 3 floors are basically a furniture store. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't know this. The top 2 floors are residential.
Still.
He had, the apartments are still there. He had 40 apartments up there.
Wow.
So there are about 20 smaller 400, 500 square foot apartments.
40s type apartments where people were more modern.
Yeah, and Mr. Daugherty himself lived up there.
Right.
And there are about 20 small 8 by 10 rooms that are just little sublet rooms. No, they had to share a bathroom down the hall.
Sure. Like
and I'm
college
sure,
dorms.
yeah, and I'm sure these guys and gals maybe worked at the sock factory, the Magnet Mill right across the street.
They got reasonable rents, right?
Absolutely. So he was a smart man. He knew that he cornered the furniture market, and he had 40 other sources of income upstairs. So think about that. And that's the neat thing is it was affordable housing when it was built.
Yeah, you're returning to the same concept.
Yeah.
So where are we in the process? You applied with the state, you got your grant funds, you did your thing, or whatever funds, permits, whatever we want to call it. We don't need to get into a lot of that. But so you started in the beginning of 20.
In 20, we looked at it. We knew that we had an opportunity to get what's called the low income housing tax credit. That's the majority of what we've got. So we've got a bunch.
And that's what scares people. When you start using the word low income.
The travesty is they named it the low income housing.
Yeah, that's right. It's all verbal.
And they're really, honestly, they're talking about changing it, but it's affordable housing. It could be the affordable housing tax credit. It could have been anything, but that's what they called it.
In those days, that's what,
And so everything is based on, well, first of all, the government in 86 created this program because they realized what they were doing was not working. The government was in the housing program.
I remember.
They were in housing.
I did it in 79. I mean, 79.
And so the LIHTC program was a way to shift the risk onto private developers, let them develop it, and let's just give them a tax credit.
Incentive, sure.
It's an incentive. Is it a subsidy? Not really. The subsidy travels with the with the tenant, and that's what you see in Section 8 apartments.
Sure, which
they
I
have a
worked
subsidy. And if somebody has a voucher, and if you have a house and you decide you want to accept vouchers, a voucher is a subsidy, and that travels with the tenant. The difference in what we're doing, LIHTC, and now 90% of affordable housing created today is through this LIHTC program.
Okay.
Administered by the state of Tennessee.
How do we spell LIHTC?
Low Income Housing Tax Credit. LITHC. LIHTC.
Oh, I see. You gave me the acronym. I didn't know.
I've got some acronyms for you.
The H, okay. LIHTC credit.
And again, we got an uphill battle just from the very first, right? Low income. What are those people like? What are we bringing here? And the government realized they had messed that up early on. But the low income housing tax credit actually kind of got it right. There's still, the biggest argument on LIHTC is that it doesn't help the low and very, very low income.
Sure.
It's actually being taken advantage of in a way. It's that 60%, 50 and 60% of the AMI number. And we can go into that too.
Well, if you're a nurse and you just got out of school and you're working somewhere in
Yeah.
Clinton and you're making $41,000, you can move in.
If you're a single nurse making 41, you probably can't. If you're a family, if you're the head of a household,
Right.
you've got 2 kids, you recently split up or whatever. So it depends on which apartment you're targeting.
Right.
But yeah, basically around, and this is what's amazing, is I did some research, and within this distance of the Daugherty building, there are all kinds of jobs. And just in the city of Clinton alone, there are 110 jobs that make less than $51,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Those are that's our workforce. And so that's what this is for. Now, does everybody get in? No, we screen. The difference in LIHTC is we're going to look at your credit. We're going to look at your background
Just like a
check.
normal-
We're going to
normal house.
talk to your last landlord because this is private. It's not government
No
sponsored.
guarantees,
It's
that's
not a
right.
HUD program.
Right.
Now HUD does tell us what our max rents can be.
Right.
So that's where you get people saying, "Oh, this is just HUD. This is something else." But HUD sets rents, and the wonderful thing is Clinton benefits from being in the MSA of Knox County. So the AMA, the average median AMI of Knox County,
Okay.
$84,000 a year. So let's just say you cut that in half to 50%. So,
Okay.
so that's the area, 50, 60% is what you have to qualify
Sure.
to get in. Now here's the kicker, and this is what's amazing. Once you move in, they're going to ask, tell us what your income is, and they verify that. A year later, they want to see your tax return to make sure you were telling the truth. And if that all checks out, you're good, as long as when you went in, you were making that amount of money.
Sure.
Let's say that a husband making 40 goes into our building, and his wife's finishing up school at Pellissippi, and she gets a job making 40 as well, and they go from 40 to 80. That couple can stay in that building. LIHTC does not punish
Wow.
people for bettering
That's
themselves.
great. That's good
And they
news.
don't get evicted. They don't get asked to leave. And that's a
Well, that allows you to grow within the system.
It
What's
does.
my lease? I come to you, I want to get in the system. I'm the guy with $40,000 job. How long are my leases?
It's just one of your leases like normal.
Okay.
Now, I'm not the property
Manager, I
property
got it.
management in this is very intricate. To keep the credits flowing, the tax credits, we turn that over to the experts. They
Different size apartments.
absolutely 1s, 2s, and 3s, and our 3-bedroom apartments are going to be 1,250, 1,300 square feet.
It's pretty big.
Yeah,
I've lived in a lot of different ones over the years.
Yeah.
When I was younger, there was a lot of.
It's
big.
fascinating, and if you've ever been in a downtown loft style apartment,
Yeah,
we're gonna keep the hardwood floors. You know, they may creak a little bit, but we're gonna have finishes that are unbelievable.
So
We're
there
gonna-
will be a historical context to the building. You're not
Absolutely,
demolishing. You're
absolutely,
not-
and we're using historical credits with the LIHTC credits, so that complicates the deal a little bit. So, because it's a historic building, we've got about $1.5 million of those credits. And so the credits are what we use. We partner with a corporation that can use those credits. Only a C Corp can use those credits.
Right.
And so there are syndicators out there that will take different corporations, pull their money together, and partner with us. They want the credits, and they want the depreciation, they want the tax benefits of that deal.
So anyone who fits within these income brackets, no restrictions on well, I guess there could be some restrictions, but you can be married, single, retired.
Can't be full-time, can't be full of full-time students. So I can't have 3 students go in there and just mom and dads are paying for it. Can't be that. So you got to have at least somebody pulling down and bringing.
Well, you're going to have
income.
they're going to have some kind of job,
Credit check. And honestly,
unless they pay the whole year.
you've got to show us that you're making or earning or some form or fashion bringing in 2.5 times your rent to even move into our building.
There you go, folks. That's going to eliminate a lot of the concerns that we have in the community. Like people that don't have a job, don't have any money, but
Right.
you're going to put them up on it.
Now-
They're not getting rent subsidy. They're getting affordable housing at a lower rate so that the income they need to qualify is a little more towards the middle than
Do
the
you
bottom.
know any kids graduating from college right now that can't find a job and are having to take that less than optimum
Sure.
job?
Yeah, it's everywhere. we
That's
don't have
what-
enough kids, period. We don't have anybody. I mean, that's our problem.
so-
But downtown Clinton, I'm mixed up with the opposition to the project. A town that, I know they're trying to go for this historical Pigeon Forge, Jonesboro type look, but I just don't. First of all, I don't think it's there. I think it's, in some ways, it's unachievable, except for twice a year an antique festival. But I just think it gives you a chance to keep Clinton people in Clinton, your kids, your grandparents. It creates an opportunity.
It does, and Clinton has done a great job. That downtown, that antique district, man, they're onto something. But 4 years ago, they had a guy come into town that cast a vision for downtown Clinton, and I didn't know about that. Of course, that was predated me being interested in the building. But I was shown that, and Rick Meredith at the chamber showed me that, and I was like, wow. I didn't even realize it, but here we are 52 months later. What's happened? Well, there's been some new shops open, but there's a quote that Giovanni, I forget his name, but there's a quote that says, when people move downtown, when you have downtown residents,
and universally in any downtown,
it changes.
That's
and
right.
I've been in some downtowns, spent some time in McMinnville in Middle Tennessee near Murfreesboro.
I know it well. I played basketball at Middle Tennessee State.
Well,
my basketball coach was from McMinnville.
They have a downtown resident.
Yes.
They're developing. It may not be but 40 or 50 families or housing units, but they have it. And when you have
Oak
that,
Ridge did it too in a different way. I mean, we've got 200 apartments across the street from downtown center now. Yeah. My buddies have retired Oak Ridge graduates in high school are living over there in single apartments, and most of the people are younger. But it's $1,000 to $1,200 a month. It's affordable.
It's almost prove the concept first. Now here's the thing. Developers are looking to make a profit, right? They've got to have a partner. And the partner in a typical market rate deal, your partner's a bank. If you want the bank to come along with you, you got to show them where it's been done before. And honestly, it hadn't been done in downtown Clinton. So to turn, the Daugherty building is a beautiful building, but it has low ceilings, it has smaller windows. If you go to Knoxville and look at some of the buildings that have been turned into housing, high income housing, we'll call it, those things had beautiful, big, gigantic windows. Not saying the Daugherty building won't be a great place to live.
They're paying for the view.
But if you want the Daugherty building to be something other, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a stretch. And let me tell you, our budget has grown to $9 million of hard costs in that building. $9 million. If I did this as a market rate investment, you mentioned $1,200-$1,400. I'd have to be charging $2,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment.
Without the program.
Without the program. And then I've got to show them, hey, these windows are smaller than you were probably wanting, and these ceilings are lower and all that. But we can still do nice finishes, but you don't get, let me tell you, the windows, the historic relevance of this building and the windows, we've got $2,000 per window budgeted.
Yeah.
Budgeted.
Sure.
So when you start to see and realize the rents that I've told you, our rents are 1 bedroom's around $7,710, 2 bedrooms $850, 3 bedrooms over $1,000, $1,050. At those rents, how is it going to pay its way? That's where the tax credits come in. The tax credits are generating 75% of the equity. It's a backwards deal.
That's right.
So we do come out with debt, and we have to have rents that support the debt that we come out with.
Amazing. Let's take a break, Brad, and we'll come back with part 3.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. A My Social Security account allows you to access your earnings history and benefits information, request a replacement Social Security card, get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
This is my husband, Alex Hussey. Alex is about 2 weeks away from coming home.
I was point man in foot patrol, and I stopped on the bomb. Lost my legs and my left hand in an explosion.
And he suffered a severe traumatic brain injury.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
There are so many mountains to climb, and we do it together.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
Come on, Alex, take on this mountain. That's what this is all about.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Alex has conquered this mountain. That's something he won't forget.
With the right support, there are no limits.
Look at that smile! You did it!
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
This has meant so much.
Thank you, DAV.
Alex Hussey, thank you for your service. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Always ready, always there. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Hello, I'm District Attorney General Dave Clark. My fellow DAs and I successfully fought for new elder abuse laws and procedures that have police departments and agencies using improved tools to protect our seniors. Victims of elder abuse are often unable to recognize or report abuse themselves. They need your voice. If you suspect abuse, contact local law enforcement or Adult Protective Services. Let's work together to protect our seniors.
We're back, folks. Here we are tonight. We're talking about the Daugherty building in Clinton and the changes that are coming. Some in Clinton don't want it. A lot in Clinton do want it. And we're looking at what's actually going to be done. And here's what I get out of the first part. It's not going to be for low-income, non-working, Section 8 type people. Nothing against that group. I've been in that group when I was young. But the bottom line is this is for people who are working, who have sufficient incomes to qualify to live there. And that could be students. It could be business people, divorced people. Kids are allowed. If families are allowed, there'll be 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. It's just a little bit smaller scale from a looks of, than the Oak Ridge apartments that just got their tax abatements, that got everything done over here. They are basically here. What we got is we got a chance for Clintonians and other people to live in some $700 to $1,200 rents in an environment where that would normally cost $1,500 to $2,000.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Yeah.
I think it's misconceived what's going on here. But go ahead, we'll talk some more.
We're just most proud right now. The construction costs have just gone crazy, but I'm most proud of the fact that the amenities that we're going to be providing are on par with something that, like you said, even the solid surface countertops, beautiful finished, refinished hardwood floors, stainless appliances. These are things you go in, you see the outlets that have the little USB charger.
It's hard to
in
find that kind of stuff.
Well, it's just things that pop and make you think, wow, this is things that somebody thought about, and everybody's entitled to that. If you're out working hard, you're entitled to not entitled, but you should be able to find an affordable place to live. And I just envision the people. Here we have $4.50 gas. I could see people living in this building and walking to work.
Yeah.
There are a lot of jobs within a walking distance of this building.
Sure.
So that's my dream, is to see that happen.
I think so. Explain some of the, give us a time frame.
Okay.
Just a rough time frame.
Yeah.
When do you start working on it?
We're, right now, we're on track to be able to close in September. It would probably
Close
be
the contract, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at that point, we
and the first hammer sledgehammer comes in.
We purchase the building.
Right.
We consummate the partnership with our equity investor who's buying the credits. And then the next day, the contractor's ready to go. He would get in the building earlier.
That person's been selected?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And the first place they're going is to the roof.
Sure.
Because most people see this building, it looks like a fortress. It is a fortress. Yeah. It's a fortress with a leaky roof. And we're going to go.
So you project $9 million in improvements?
$9 million. Yeah, and we have a little contingency to go over that if we have to.
Okay. So you start in September.
Mm-hmm. When
does the first person move in?
Our goal is to be in there for a year. Our goal is to pre-lease probably before September of 2023. So July, August of 2023, we start pre-leasing.
It's pretty quick.
We have to finish the building. We can't lease it up floor by floor. So that's a little disappointing, but and now with lead times on construction, the contractor's like, hey, we're shooting for 12, but it could be 14, 15, and we're okay with that.
So January 24.
I think we'll be fully leased up. Let's be safe and say spring of January or spring of 2024. We'll be leased up.
Yep. And you can't go till you're leased up. You can't go out until you're leased up.
No, I mean there's all kinds of these tax credit deals have all these checkpoints. So
100% leased or 90 or 80? Is there a threshold?
It has to be what they call stabilization is 90% leased for 90 days. That's stabilization. Obviously, when you put somebody in it, you're not, they're hopefully in there for
Do you
a
get
year.
do you get points that way? I mean, in other words,
if
you have 10 at 0, can you have 80 at a year? You got 90% at not 30 days, 90 days.
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
Okay,
but we're shooting for 100% in.
I understand, but let's say you're 80% leased. But if all of those people are 12 months, it would be more months leased than it would be if you had, you see what I'm saying? You would have 80%, and that would qualify because your stabilization rate of 90 to a 90. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
I guess I do. Listen, they don't release the tax credits until we hit that milestone, and that's what everybody's looking for. So once we've hit that milestone, that's what the investor that bought the credits,
Okay.
and those credits flow over 10 years. They don't
So
flow
there's
out.
3 floors of housing, or the whole thing's housing?
The whole thing will be housing, but we're going to
We'll
have
have a lobby in the bottom, right?
Absolutely, more than a lobby. We've got
Social.
probably about 3,000 square feet down there that we've got to be careful with. But man, there's a lot of things we could do down there.
Sure.
A lot of things. Now we are going to have a
common.
place, a leasing office.
Yeah.
But the tenant mailboxes are not there, so we could look at a lot of different options. I don't think we're going to put another antique store in there.
Yeah.
And we
Probably
don't,
not a bar.
We don't have the ability to vent or have a grill.
Right.
But the options beyond that are
Retail options, maybe.
retail, yeah. I've had a lot of ideas. You could do. I definitely want to do something to honor the building, to honor the Daugherty legacy.
Sure.
Craig, the owner of the building's got some things from the building's past.
Is he the grandson?
No, he's not. He's not. The grandson actually lost the building in foreclosure, and
That's
Craig
right. I
picked it
remember
up.
now. I remember now.
But the grandson is the one that put it on the National Historic List in
Credit for
2010.
him.
Yeah. So there's just a history in that building that we want to recognize. So there'll be something.
I think the history, mainly the architecture, is one of your marketing aspects. If you didn't have that big, beautiful stone, and even if you had brand new, well insulated, I think that tracks.
I can't wait to get a pressure washer on that building and get that sign down and see that sign come down and go get restored. Come back, lights be on that sign.
Does it have a name?
New.
You know what you're gonna call it?
We're going to call it Daugherty Lofts.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, you ever lived in a loft?
I have.
I don't think I. Well,
one time in New York. I wasn't there but 6 weeks, but I lived in a loft.
That's the trendy.
They're nice. You watch the movies, guys. You watch all the young people in the cities, and they're kind of like, usually artists live there, or somebody else, and they'll have one part of the loft will be this, another part of the loft will be that. But it's usually one big room.
Yeah, I can't tell you who's going to be drawn. I want to see a young crowd drawn to this building. I really do, and it can happen. The only challenge there is location. It is. But I think big things are coming for downtown Clinton. Now, if we can avoid a recession, and I don't think there's going to be any other.
It's confusing. My expertise is in numbers and economy. We got to have slower business to get inflation down, but we need bigger business to get our stocks up. And the nice situations just do a little bit of both.
But that Clinton is just the new bridge. That's wonderful. You've got the riverfront there. You've got that quaint, that downtown feel. Those old.
Can you see the river from the building? How many floors can see the river?
The shame in that is you probably can't because of trees. And initially we wanted.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have an exterior elevator tower, and that's been something that we had on
the people. What that means is, like, if you've ever been to a higher Regency and you have an elevator, the elevator will be built outside of the main frame.
Yeah, and the thing is the
Glass.
elevator. Yeah, I mean, it has to be done so delicately. We can't even hardly attach to the building. So there'll be a glass breezeway from the elevator tower to the building, lets you in. We had to do that because there is an existing elevator. First elevator in the county is in that building.
Oh, okay.
It's about the size of this table, so it's not. And there's not another form of egress. So we had to do a stair tower and an elevator. And initially it was on that Church Street side. And then we ran into the State Historic Preservation Office, and they said, if there is a rear facade, we need you to put it back there. I think it's the wrong place to put it, but we're going to put it back
Parking will be back there, though.
Yeah, parking's back there.
That makes sense. Come to the elevator and go up, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't far.
If you come in the front.
It was on the corner rear of Church Street. Now it's going to be.
But you got to think of, in my opinion, if I'm thinking, what would I do with the property? I think you got to make it like one of these Hermitage hotels in Nashville or something like that, where it's so nice and has so much history to it. You know,
I mean, you still got an old building that needs to be cleaned up. It's going to hopefully get brand new windows, and we get that cleared through historic.
I was raising your costs there for a second. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I mean, it's still housing, and we've still got to make sure that it's at a price point that.
But when I go to the Hermitage on the Capitol, it's very expensive.
I've never stayed there. You must be rich.
I'm not rich. I can't remember why. I go
like
there every once in a while.
$400 or $500 a night.
Yeah, now it is. Yeah, it used to be $2.
Yeah.
And you go down there, and I go watch the Predators and the playoffs or something. I'd stay there every once in a while, and the rooms are real small. It's real old. It's very quaint.
Yeah.
But its location's excellent. Yeah. But I'd rather be at the Hilton. But I mean, but my point is that your hotel will remind people that a lot. They'll want to stay there.
Well, it's not a hotel, man.
My bad. If I spend a lot of time in cities, and this is what people in the city look for.
They do.
They look for places like this.
And I was totally oblivious to that downtown feel until I got with my partner Buzz.
I can explain that. Lake City in Campbell County.
Yeah, I mean, I was oblivious. Listen, I live on 12 acres. I have 5 cows right now. I have chickens. So those are not...
Great for the family, though.
Oh, it's great.
How many kids you got?
I have 3 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, and my oldest is graduating, going to UT. So my oldest is 18.
Went to school where?
He's going
to City High School?
No, we went to Concord Christian.
Okay, great. Great school.
Yeah, so we raised our kids with the work ethic on the farm, fix the fence. Hey, a tree fell on the fence, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, cows are out, let's go. Yeah. I mean, that's how I grew up, and that's how it happened. But
I wish I'd grown up that way.
But going in, I mean, and I know, listen, I understand Clinton is not Knoxville, and I want that, and people have told me that, and I've heard that at meetings, and that's true. But these there are people that want to live downtown. There are neighborhoods. If you go into downtown Knoxville, there's 5,000 people that call downtown home. And it's amazing. It's just like the guy that you see on the sidewalk going by your house. They are friends. It's a community. They eat together. They walk to the Bijou Theater. They walk to all these things.
Sure.
Think about what's in walking distance of the Daugherty building. You have the theater. You have Hoskins. You can go.
And that's the way you prevent, and they've done a great job keeping that open.
Yeah.
That's the way you build the business back up at the Ritz. You have more people, more downtown. Because on Saturday, at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's tombstone. I mean, there's nobody downtown, but except when there's a parade or something happens.
Right.
But you create a little more life.
Something else that's neat is maybe everybody doesn't know about this. TDOT's getting ready to tear up 25 in front of the Daugherty building. Okay. The sewer system in front of the Daugherty building is 100 years old. So TDOT's going to come in there, do a beautification, do some what they call it, traffic calming things in the middle, maybe with some trees.
And that's aesthetic stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but that's going to perfectly time out. If we can get close September this fall.
It's going to help you.
Yeah, and it's great to know that new sewer out front that CUB's doing is going to be there. So there'll be a lot of work. It'll be a mess for a while.
I've said this, and I brag on him a lot, but if Joe Hollingsworth had not built those apartments by the interstate, Clinton would have died 20 years ago. He created a place for people to live, whether you're for or against this or that.
If you've not been out there to see what Joe's doing in South Clinton,
absolutely.
I mean, every town needs a Joe Hollingsworth.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
And
the more... I mean, it's amazing. And that guy has given back, and he's like me and all the rest of the controversial people. Yeah. But if he is giving back on every level to his hometown.
And isn't that exactly? That's exactly what you want to see a guy like that do.
That's exactly right. And there aren't many that do it.
You know what? I'm just amazed that Aspire's what they've named it. His name isn't even on that. Most people want their name all over something like that. I mean, that tells you the guy has his heart, where his heart is. Unbelievable.
Well, I think he has a concrete vision of what he wants to be.
Yeah, they took me out there and showed me a year and a half ago, wanted me to see, Kent, this is what's going on.
But what you have in common there is future vision.
Oh, I'd love to see some kind of pedestrian bridge that would shoot right across that river.
You're trying to get back to the house, aren't you?
No, I just, it'll be great.
What you're going to need before it's over, how many apartments?
39.
So we'll end up with 60 people of some form of fashion, 65.
Man, we got 5 3-bedrooms, so you would hope you'd have a family of 4 in those, so that's 20. You've got about 22 bedrooms, so you're hoping that you got 3 people in there.
Can I make too much money to qualify?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely, yeah.
Like you say, 40 may be the minimum or 50, but when is it,
But if you're that, let's say you're this kid that moves in there and you're making 25, you're working at McDonald's flipping burgers, and you move in there and then you figure it out. You start an internet.
Become a data guy and you make 300, right?
You, the next year, you start an internet business.
No eviction.
No. And that's what's amazing. Now, that's only in buildings that are 100% affordable, which Daugherty Lofts is 100% affordable. And I know we don't have to get into that, but just.
It's kind of like New York controlled housing in a sense. It's kind of.
It is rent controlled.
It is really, in a sense it is, yeah.
It is, and for that reason, we can talk more about this. For that reason, we're spending, the budget's $9 million, but the rents I'm charging only support about $3 million, right?
Right.
But the taxes I'm going to be asked to pay are on what we're putting in that building. So something that has caused a little bit of disturbance is I would like to seek a pilot for the building. I see that I think we're doing a service. We're killing two birds with one stone. We're saving an old building and we're creating affordable housing. All I ask is that my taxes are in line with other affordable projects in the county. And we're going to go in front of the county commission, the IDB, in August, and we're going to start that process.
Okay.
So we'll see how that goes. I hope that the sentiment towards the project changes and people see what we're doing and that it's a good thing. The problem with not getting a pilot, it's probably going to eat into our construction budget. And we're going to have to look at things that...
Define for the viewers what a pilot is.
Oh, I'm sorry. A pilot is a payment in lieu of taxes. So the Industrial Development Board essentially...
in Oak Ridge is a way of life.
Oak Ridge has done a great job of what the Main Street got a beautiful pilot. The Frank Callahan Towers, they got bought by LHP, I think. LHP bought Frank Callahan Towers. Then they submitted and won LIHTC credits. They won tax credits.
All down in Riverville, all the industries, all these people, a lot of pilot programs over the last 30 years.
And Clinton has lured unbelievable businesses into Clinton, and that's a Joe Hollingsworth thing too. But they have lured those businesses in with pilots. They just don't have a lot of experience in affordable housing or housing pilot.
The problem is people don't like change. They're slow to get there. And then when it gets there, it's kind of like having a lot of conservative Republican background. Nobody wanted the Titans to come here. I was in Nashville. I'm a big supporter of this controversy in Knoxville with Randy's baseball project. I just think those things carry so much intrinsic value that they're worth the investment. But that's my opinion.
They do.
We got to take one more break, and then we're going to come back and finish the last 10 or 12 minutes. We're learning a lot. Sounds like a good project. We'll be right back.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see.
D-E-P-R.
Mental illness doesn't show up on a scale.
Bipolar?
Sorting out a mental health concern takes professional diagnosis and treatment.
Anxiety. I thought so.
If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, don't go it alone. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, call 1-800-662-HELP. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
What if one day you went to your secret hiding place and instead of what you came for, you found this? What would you do? The truth is, all drug use comes with risk. Before drugs take their toll on you and your family, know that there is help. You can quit. If you or someone you love is struggling with drug use, call 1-800-662-HELP for 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/know-the-risks.
Hello, I'm District Attorney General Dave Clark. My fellow DAs and I successfully fought for new elder abuse laws and procedures that have police departments and agencies using improved tools to protect our seniors. Victims of elder abuse are often unable to recognize or report abuse themselves. They need your voice. If you suspect abuse, contact local law enforcement or adult protective services. Let's work together to protect our seniors.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. Beware of telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you. Callers threatening you with arrest or other legal action and demanding money are not from us. If you receive a call like this, hang up, do not provide them with any form of payment or information. Report the call at oig.ssa.gov.
Okay, we're back. We're talking about the Daugherty problem. Property. I'm tired, guys.
Oh, my goodness.
I may have set that up, didn't I?
Yeah.
But if you're driving in, it is a problem that's being remedied, to be honest, with an empty building. But if you're driving in, for all my Oak Ridge friends, everybody, you go into Clinton, you go by the courthouse on your left, you go another block and a half, and it's that beautiful furniture building on the right.
Biggest building in downtown Clinton.
Biggest building in downtown.
Every town's got that building, that big building.
Yeah, but that's the way it was in the old days. That's right.
And that's why we're excited. We really think that if this project is going to spark something, it's going to spark some investment. I hate what's happening with inflation and things right now, and what might be on the horizon. I think we're headed for some sort of economic decline, but the Daugherty building could be a spark to some things in downtown Clinton. And you're going to see changes in downtown Clinton, but it's going to really, the spark is when people start living in a downtown. It brings it to life. It brings those businesses in. You get your first little restaurant or deli or whatever, and boom.
In New England, my father was from New England and my mother was from Illinois. But when we were little, we used to go to these towns, kind of like Fontana, Gatlinburgish, but we would go to these towns in New England that were centered that way. They'd have cottage home industries and all kinds of people living there, and they'd get out and walk and go eat and come back. And of course, the cities are built that way in New York and Boston. They're all, everybody lives on their block or two. So creating that energy is my word. In Clinton's what you're trying to do.
It does, and it makes it better for everybody else. And are there sometimes when your downtown grows, are there some inconveniences? Is it a little harder to find a parking space? Probably, yeah. But the cool thing, if you ever go to Knoxville, if you wait until 5 o'clock, all those meters go free. A lot of those people go home or they take off out of Knoxville really early. And so parking spots open up. And so things, they're doing neat things behind the Daugherty building right now. There's the farmer's market. There's all kinds of stuff. Food trucks.
Yeah, food trucks, yeah.
Just because this is happening with the Daugherty building doesn't mean that goes away. Somebody said, well, I guess we're going to lose our food trucks. I said, no, I want that there.
Yeah.
My residents were going to want that farmer's market. They're going to be down there too. Yeah. And so, it might be a little more crowded. We may have to, I've heard that they're going to restripe that lot, create more spaces. It's not laid out very efficiently at all. There are 280 spaces back there, I think. It could be over 300. So we can lose some parking spots back there and still be okay. And people don't want to say this, but my residents are going to be, a lot of them are going to be gone during the day.
Yeah.
They're going to be gone because you know what?
They work. They got jobs.
Yeah. So,
interesting. Any age restrictions?
No.
An old guy like me could fill out and go if I met the qualifications. So.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of old guys in the world. I mean, so it's just different. Well, I've lived a lot of places, seen a lot of stuff, been involved in some big investments, hundreds of millions of dollars, and the bottom line is when you look at the setting with which you're trying to do this, I mean, obviously with the structure, your risks are more limited than they would be. Mm-hmm. But this is who else is doing something? Joe's had to carry it.
Like you said, it's the perfect strategy for the perfect building at the perfect time.
That's right.
It really is. We can sit and wait.
We get to a point in some counties where any strategy at any time is a good strategy.
You can wait and wait and wait. And that was actually brought up that somebody said they'd rather see the building sit another 10 years than go down this path. And I just...
That's selfish, folks. That's selfish.
I thought...
You got a better plan, bring it out.
Yeah, and there's other things happening too. I mean, Craig's going to move his store. He's in contract with the comic store. So he's going to take the investment. The money we give him is going to stay in downtown Clinton, and that building's going to be restored. He's got room.
Only place I ever came to shop.
He's got Clinton cards and I love
that place. Love that guy.
Oh my gosh, it's like going back to 1980.
They've been closed for a while.
He was one of my patients. His mom.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, she used to sit there all day. She was great.
It's like going back in time when you walk in there because I saw the building when Craig bought it. 89 tops, but baseball cards everywhere, and it's like wow.
Oh yeah.
Just like going back to 9th grade, 10th grade. But hey, that building's got room for 5-6 apartments on top of it. So, and
there are some people who live on.
Get this,
there's people who live down there.
There's already people living down there.
Yeah, top down there on the left.
Absolutely. So, to say we're not sure what downtown's going to look like with people living down there. Well, they've been there.
And like the stair, kind of unique you know, they do the actors and actresses, and they do the agency down there, the stereo.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember his first name, but been on the show before. But that's just a great innovative thing to do.
Yeah.
And you get somebody that's active and doing things, potential customer, you know, you got all kinds of things. The old Pearl Market, you know, you just got things you got to get moving, but it can't be restricted to what a group of people want to do. It needs to be open.
If we can get this concept going, prove it, I think we'll see a market rate deal down there that who knows what's going to happen with the Magnet Mill site. Housing needs to be a big part of that. And on the riverfront, right there, convenient, 20 minutes from North Knoxville, they may get the rents that I can't get in the Daugherty building, that they will be able to build differently. This is an expensive rehab, especially in today's time. I could go build 40 units somewhere else behind the Walmart for the same price we're renovating these 40 units, right? Yeah. So when you're confined inside this shell, you're trying to make things fit and work out. So,
but this will be neat 50 years from now.
It will. It saves the building. It saves the building and preserves it for
a beautiful building. You're right. I mean, when I drive through Clinton, I always say, okay. But when I get to that building, it's always, when you get to that corner and you turn, there's a lot of good things going on. It really is.
Yeah. And
churches within the neighborhood, stores within the neighborhood. And you're right. It needs some more. It needs more. But having 70, 80 people upstairs and living in that building will create more flow downtown.
Yeah. The investors were saying, hey, Kent, tell us about the amenities. Where can you walk to? You can walk to all three of the schools. If I'm not mistaken, you can get to an elementary, middle, and high school.
You could walk to high school. High school's a little long walk.
Little hike. You can walk to the drugstore. You can walk to a bank. You can walk to the theater. You've got the riverfront area where there's the rowing access. You've got ball fields over near the high school, don't you?
Sure.
You've got the swimming pool, the rec center, bowling. Think of all the things that are within walking distance. So it really kind of is all there. Let's do it and let's make it happen.
That's exactly
Let's
right.
restore the building to what one of its former purposes was.
And just seeing the architecture and saying, can you imagine, have a little imagination of what could be done with that building and people living in it. And I'm telling you, the cities, the Denvers I've lived in and Pittsburgh and that place, there are buildings like these.
There's nothing like taking
it's a center. It's the heart of a community.
Nothing like taking something. I told you I flipped houses. Taking an old building, restoring it, making it shine. Nothing like that. It's just such a satisfaction.
I grew up in a house, and 30 years later, I came back and bought that house, and it was like everything that was there before came back. You know, it's just like a spirit. It's great. I think you're doing a great thing. I'm glad you're staying in your neighborhood to do it. This is your part of East Tennessee, and I really appreciate you coming on the show and explaining some of this. We'll do it again when you get started.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for coming, Ken. I appreciate. Thank you for watching.
Since the moment you were born, I've made 1,000 wishes. Wishes for your future in a world that's changing fast. Because no matter what you do in this life, what matters to me is that you keep doing.
The life of every child is precious. If you care for a child or teenager with a disability and have limited income and resources, they may qualify for monthly cash payments through the Supplemental Security Income Program, or SSI. Call Social Security at 1-800-772-1213 or visit ssa.gov/SSIkids to learn more. That's ssa.gov/SSIkids. Message produced by Social Security at U.S. taxpayer expense.
This is my husband, Alex Hussey. Alex is about 2 weeks away from coming home.
I was point man on foot patrol, and I stopped on the bomb. Lost my legs and my left hand in an explosion.
And he suffered a severe traumatic brain injury.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
There are so many mountains to climb, and we do it together.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
Come on, Alex, take on this mountain. That's what this is all about.
DAV provides a lifetime of support to veterans of every generation, helping more than 1 million veterans each year.
Alex has conquered this mountain. That's something he won't forget.
With the right support, there are no limits.
Look at that smile! You did it!
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
This has meant so much.
Thank you, DAV.
Alex Hussey, thank you for your service.